in the heart of Beer City, USA. Two men, one journey, to create a sports show unlike any other. Unfiltered, raw, and honest. One of them played a soccer goalie opposite Ben Stiller. The other once scored 6 points on Steph Curry. These guys know their shit.
Let's go!
Tank Spencer, Jeremy Greene, The Sportsocracy. Presented by Ingles Supermarkets. Low prices, love the savings. And Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville.
And welcome into the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. And welcome in to the College Football Bowl Spectacular.
Which is basically a nice way of saying we'll talk about the ACC games, we'll talk about the SEC games, and then the playoff, which is practically all that matters.
Right here in the Ingles studio on ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. The Sportsocracy heard everywhere on the iHeartRadio app and, of course, seen everywhere on YouTube. Just go to thesportsocracy.com, click on that link, subscribe to the channel, and you can join us in the chat, get the alerts when we go live from the Ingles studio and all that. Now, we have 43 matchups in the bowl season. It all starts just 9 days from now. The Bahamas Bowl will be the one that gets us underway. Miami of Ohio and UAB at 11:30 on Friday, December the 16th. The first games involving ACC, SEC teams, though, going to come up on Saturday, December the 17th. And the first one, 11 o'clock in the morning, the Wasabi Fenway Bowl with Louisville and Cincinnati. Man, that game's got some intrigue now, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's with Scott Satterfield leaving Louisville for Cincinnati. Yeah, this seems to have a little bit more, gusto than it had.
A former rivalry game.
The battle for the keg of nails.
The keg of nails game. It's been a dormant rivalry for a decade now, but Louisville takes on Cincinnati in the Fenway Bowl. I mean, obviously the coaching thing, poaching Scott Satterfield gives this obviously another wrinkle. But is this going to be a good game is the question.
I mean, it's going to be a fun little eclectic, hey, look, we're playing a game at Fenway on a baseball field. Other than that, you may not have either. Ben Bryant's already out for Cincinnati. Malik Cunningham may opt out. I mean, that's the difficult part about this, about these bowl games, is you don't know who's going to play and who's not. I feel like Malik Cunningham is a player that needs as much showcase as humanly possible. I mean, I'm not going to tell you it's going to be a good game, but it might be a aggressive game. Filling in for Cincinnati at the head coaching spot, Kerry Combs. If you remember that name, he was the defensive coordinator at Ohio State that was so bad that he lost play calling duties in the middle of the season.
Nice.
So if I were a gambling man, and not that I would do that, although you can use our show name and go to betus.com and you know the thing.
Right.
I would probably lean Louisville here. Little extra anger, maybe a few less opt-outs, less instability in the program. And by then you should know that Jeff Brom will be the new head coach at Louisville.
100%. 2:30 on Saturday afternoon, December the 17th. You got Florida taking on number 14, Oregon State, in the Las Vegas Bowl. Now, I don't like this for Florida.
You shouldn't, because they don't have a quarterback on the roster.
Florida is, they went on the backslide from hell at the end of the season.
Well, excuse me, they're not very good.
Mm-hmm.
Anthony Richardson has already opted out. He will be entering the NFL draft. Sorry, I can't say that without laughing. This is one of those that I look at and just go, if you like free money, Oregon State is free money. Florida is one step away from calling me to play quarterback for them.
Mm-hmm.
Most likely going to be a walk-on. Had the issues with Kitna. You already know those. No Anthony Richardson, no quarterback, and you're the lesser team anyway.
Yeah.
And you're only having to lay 7.5 with Oregon State. Yep, that's about as easy as it gets.
Yep.
I will wager by the time this kicks off, that's 15.
Friday, December 23rd. That's your next set of games. Well, the game involving ACC-SEC matchup in the Gasparilla Bowl down in Tampa at Raymond James Stadium. You've got Wake Forest against Missouri. I wouldn't watch this if you paid me.
If they played it in my backyard, I'd move. I'd just put a for sale sign and drive off and hope that Clarissa Hyatt Zach could just sell the house and send me a check.
Yeah. Wake Forest fans, one last chance to see Sam Hartman, maybe?
Nope.
No? He's not going to play?
When asked if he would be back at Wake Forest, his exact response was no shot. That's a bad sign that maybe this didn't go your way. He has another year of eligibility.
He does.
And they asked, would you be returning to Wake Forest or transferring somewhere else? There is no shot I am coming back to Wake Forest.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he was nice about it. If I feel like they probably want to see somebody else too. He is an attractive transfer if he doesn't enter the draft. And I can't tell you which one he's going to do. He's 25 years old.
Right.
So he may just say, I'm done with college. I've been doing this for 2 presidential terms. I've been in college longer than grunge music was a thing. I'm done with this, and I don't want to do it anymore.
Right.
The Gasparilla Bowl. Ugh.
No good.
No fun. I hate having this many games.
Yeah, it's a lot. I mean, there are
2/3 of teams in FBS college football make a bowl.
Mm-hmm.
That is as participation trophy millennial nonsense as it gets.
There are 9 ACC teams that made bowls, 11 SEC teams that made bowls.
Oof.
So it's a lot. So we got to get to it here because Wednesday, December the 28th, you've got another block of games here. 2 featuring SEC teams.
You skipped one on 27th. It's not an ACC or an SEC team, but it is a North Carolina team. It's the Fighting Mike Histons taking on the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers. You lost Jamie Chadwell. East Carolina hasn't won a bowl, I think, in my lifetime. That's also free money.
Mm-hmm.
East Carolina minus 7.5 right now.
Grayson McCall, is he going to play?
No.
Do you care?
I don't care, but no, he's not. He is one that I legitimately could see having to make the decision, am I going to enter the draft? Am I going to go into the transfer portal? Because he would be super sought after.
Mm-hmm.
And he does have 1 year of eligibility left.
Okay. Wednesday, December the 28th. You got, like I said, another block of games here. The first one featuring an ACC or SEC team is at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and it's going to be the Military Bowl with Duke taking on UCF.
I am all in on Duke. That is one of the most undervalued teams in all of high-level college sports.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I will say there is a reason for that. It is not attractive to watch. It is not super conducive to this atmosphere. I feel like you said, one of the things you got to think about when you wager these games, who wants to be here more? For Duke, this is your high water mark. You've been here for 4 years. Success has been limited, we'll say that. And so you get into a bowl game with a name program and you try to make a mark. It tells me everything I need to know that I'm barely laying a field goal here with Central Florida.
Mm-hmm.
And they're the better team here, in spite of how much I don't like them, and I've made just a slew of doubloons going against the Fighting Gus Malzahn's. This would be Duke, and again, not a game that I'm super excited to watch.
Yeah, I mean,
but
it could
not
be
a lot
fun.
of opt-outs either.
It could be fun. You got a couple of running quarterbacks here going at it, so it could be some fireworks, to say the least. 5:30 in the afternoon, you got the Liberty Bowl from Memphis, Tennessee, and it's the Battle of the Kansases. Yeah, Kansas against Arkansas.
He actually just said that.
I did.
You had me completely messed up of what am I missing here?
It's the two Kansases.
Arkansas is not going to have a living, breathing linebacker on the team. Bumper Pool and Drew Sanders have already declared for the draft.
Mm-hmm.
Both very high-level prospects that you will be able to see in my 3-round mock draft coming up. Either tomorrow or Friday.
Mm-hmm.
It depends on time.
I believe that this is also one of those who's more excited to be here.
Oh, I mean, Kansas is without a doubt.
Right, Kansas, this is the Super Bowl. Like, this is the best you could have possibly hoped for in this season. Arkansas, I feel like that was the team that had their sights a little higher on the bowl pecking order here.
Well, I mean, and if you're Kansas, you have to feel like you're playing with house money solely because Lance Leipold's coming back.
Mm-hmm. And Arkansas has they struggled down the stretch of the season. So I think I would be on the Kansas side on this one, even though Arkansas is going to be the favorite.
And the defensive coordinator at Arkansas, Barry Odom, the new head coach at UNLV. So a lot of instability, but you're getting KJ Jefferson back, which stuns me.
Mm-hmm. Also that night, you got the Tax Act Texas Bowl kicking off at 9:00 with Texas Tech and Ole Miss.
Ooh,
I feel like that is a match made in Jeremy heaven right there. The Texas Tech team that you just continually talk smack about all year long.
And they're not going to have Tyree Wilson, who he has not declared yet that he's going to the draft, but let me give you a little secret. He's going in the top 15. He ain't played in this game.
Yeah.
Fun stat about Ole Miss. In their last 6 games, do you know how many times they covered? Against the number, how many times did Ole Miss cover in their last 6 games?
I'll guess none.
Time. Not saying that I would be heavy on Texas Tech here, but I would be heavy on Texas Tech here.
Mm-hmm. 8:00 on December the 28th, the Holiday Bowl.
Oh, you mean the bowl game that Florida State should be in? I'm not bitter.
Yeah, you are. You're a little too bitter here. But you got Oregon taking on North Carolina. End of the season couldn't have gone worse for the North Carolina Tar Heels.
Yeah, and this is
Drake May.
This is going to be. You remember when we were kids and they had video games that didn't have the licenses?
Mm-hmm.
So they would have to get really cute with how they put teams into games. I'm thinking Tecmo Bowl post Bo Jackson.
This is like the NCAA game that had Smart Mouth as a team.
Where you will see a team wearing a kooky duck uniform that has an Oregon O on it. And you will see a team in uniforms that look like Carolina. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, all of those players that you know and love, they will be nowhere near San Diego, California.
None of them.
None of them. Christian Gonzalez is already out. I mean, I could see a path where Drake May plays because he does have to come back, which is why I would lean to Carolina here. I'm just not sure that I care.
No Bo Nix for Oregon?
No. He's I do believe he's going to declare for the draft, whether he should or not.
Ugh.
Always remember, it doesn't matter what you think.
I get it.
You're not the one that's making the decision.
I get it. But that's one that I would go, yeah, Bo Nix would probably need to play in this game if he's going to enter the draft to make some sort of a national scale statement.
Well, and the thing you have to remember is, and this is me projecting, Bo Nix could play in this game.
Mm-hmm.
I think when he sees how few Carolina players are going to play in it, he just goes, I'm out.
Yeah.
Because evaluators like me will watch this and go, I'm learning nothing. Because you're playing against the B squad for a team that couldn't play dead in the Western on defense anyway.
There would be no Josh Downs.
No, he's already out. Christian Gonzalez for Oregon, he's already out.
Yep. You've already had Tony Grimes enter the transfer portal, so he won't be playing for the Tar Heels.
Kelly, he's already in the transfer portal.
Mm-hmm. You've already seen some guys make their decisions already. I feel like for the most part, though, Carolina will have a decent team out there. You'll have Drake May. You'll have, Omar
you're going to learn
Hampton
a lot about next year.
Greene
because the guys that play in this game are going to be committed.
Absolutely.
And probably going to have significant roles. I will say, Biggest thing you can learn, does anybody step up as the pass catcher for Drake May?
Mm-hmm.
And also, don't be surprised if Drake May gets a bruised eyebrow or a very infected hangnail and doesn't play in this game.
The next slate of games comes up on that Thursday, December the 29th. We'll discuss the matchups up next.
The Sportsocracy.
Why are you smiling? Because I love football.
ESPN Asheville, you're in the Sportsocracy College Football Bowl Spectacular. And on December 29th, 2 ACC teams involved in bowl games. One of them is not really worth talking about, but we'll get to them in a second. The Syracuse Orange take on the Minnesota Golden Gophers in the Bad Boy Mowers Pinstripe Bowl. This is another one being played on a baseball field, and it's going
because that's fun. Hey, look, we're playing on a baseball field.
And here's the question. The intrigue of this game would be to see the two running backs going head-to-head.
But you're not going to see the one.
But neither of them will play in this game, right?
They're both second day, beginning of day 3 picks.
I would have to imagine that Mo Ibrahim and Sean Tucker are not going to be here.
This is one of the hardest games to wager of the entire slate. Dino Babers and PJ Fleck combined. Do you know what their record is against the spread in bowl games? And by the way, neither one of them's ever played in a bowl game that mattered. They're 5-0 against the spread.
Really?
But combined.
Huh.
Fleck's 3-0, Babers 2-0.
Interesting. I was going to guess it was on the bad side of
Nope.
that. But okay.
There are certain coaches that put a lot into this. I always call this Dabo Sweeneying because they don't tend to have a lot of opt-outs, which we'll get to momentarily when we talk about Clemson.
Mm-hmm.
This is not quite that, so it's just a game I'm avoiding like grim death.
Yeah.
You may see 2 backup quarterbacks. Fenway or Yankee Stadium. I'm sorry.
No Mele Kalikimaka for Minnesota.
I don't know who you're referring to.
The quarterback. How do you say his name?
Kaliakmanis.
Yeah, there you go.
Yes,
It's the Christmas season. I got it on my mind.
Yeah, Kaliakmanis.
Yeah, that's
Ethan Kaliakmanis.
That's exactly what I said. I don't see any difference.
Nope,
there.
not quite.
5:30 on that Thursday evening. Number 13, Florida State, taking on the Oklahoma Sooners. There's been a lot of great reaction for the House of Reprehensibles on this game because Oklahoma is the one team that Jeremy has talked the most smack about this year. And, I mean, I don't see a chance that you're going to lose this game. But
I don't either, and I don't care if not one starter plays in it. I don't care if Florida State's JV team it just trots out here. Oklahoma's starters couldn't stop anybody. What do you think that offense is going to do to them?
Mm-hmm.
Plus, they're a little salty that they wound up in the Cheez-It Bowl. Finished 13th, wound up playing Oklahoma, who couldn't beat themselves. Ugh.
But
Carolina goes to the Holiday Bowl. We wound up in the Cheez-It Bowl. Our trophy's a big bowl of Cheez-Its.
You should win your division. I mean, that's...
Well, if we played in the division where there wasn't anybody in it, it wouldn't be that hard.
You're not wrong.
Sorry, we get Clemson in ours. It makes it a little more difficult.
Just a tad. But do you? I mean, are you going to see all of your guys playing in this game?
No,
Jordan Travis,
Jared Verse will not play. Fabian Lovett, I would say, won't play. And look, they all say they're going to play, and that's I greatly salute that you say that. I feel like somebody needs to just don't do that. Jared Verse, you're a top 25 pick. Don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
Jamie Robinson, you're a second-round pick. Don't do that. I mean, I love you, and God bless your commitment to this. There's commitment, and then it doesn't make any sense.
What really are you playing for?
Well, I mean, because you're not going to prove anything.
Mm-hmm.
You beating the smoke off Oklahoma proves nothing to anyone.
Right.
So protect yourselves. You were great, Seminoles. We will miss you, and Godspeed and good luck at the next level. we'll let the next generation of guys handle this.
Indeed. Friday, December the 30th. A slew of games, obviously, on the 30th, the 31st, and the big ones are going to be all lumped into that one. We'll hang on to the big ones.
Oh, trust me, we're trying to get through these as quick as humanly possible.
Absolutely. But Friday, December the 30th, 12 o'clock in the afternoon, Duke's Mayo Bowl, Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte. NC State Wolfpack, Maryland Terrapins.
You're going to see puppy fingers. Unfortunately, you're going to see a whole bunch of puppies and not a lot of dogs because I'm not really sure what's left at NC State. Tim Beck has moved on, taking the Coastal Carolina job. Devin Leary's in the portal. He wouldn't have played anyway. I'm well aware of that.
Mm-hmm.
I just if Maryland has anybody playing this game, you cannot score with them. They could be the backup quarterback with Rakeem Jarrett or Dante I don't care if anybody plays.
Right.
Heavy on Maryland.
You got a few receivers that have some NFL hopes here. Talia, I mean, he's not ready to come out, is he? He's just a sophomore,
I would say no, but I can't tell you that he won't. He can if he wants to. He just shouldn't.
Yeah.
So
2
that's
o'clock.
where that falls in.
Yeah, 2 o'clock on Friday afternoon. Pittsburgh Steelers. Pittsburgh Panthers.
Nope. Pittsburgh Steelers will not be playing the UCLA Bruins. And if they do, it would be a bloodletting.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. UCLA would smoke them. Number 18 Bruins taking on the Panthers in the Sun Bowl.
Pittsburgh not going to have Kalijah Cansey. So, Pittsburgh was so talented to have ended up in the Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl. On the bright side, you get Phil Jakovic next year. So I'm going to wager next year goes a little better.
Not a part of the New Year's Six Bowls is the Gator Bowl, 3:30 on that Friday afternoon. Number 19, South Carolina. Number 21, Notre Dame. Let's go. I feel like this is a game that both sides are going to be very interested to play.
This is the one I'm angry that Florida State's not in. You said Notre Dame's not even in the ACC.
That's the tie-in?
Yes, it's because we have to play this stupid game of, well, if Notre Dame's alive, I know they travel well. Just, okay? Don't
It's all about the money. It's all about the money.
Shane Beamer just seems to be instilling a culture, so I think you're going to say – and, look, South Carolina returns a ton next year. Tight end probably going to be a little thin, but other than that, I think it'll be fine. It will give you a nice – it'll give you a nice barometer of where South Carolina is because they're going to catch a Notre Dame team that loses some guys in the portal, probably has some opt-outs. If Michael Mayer plays in this game, I swear to you, his agent should tackle him before he gets across the end line.
Right. Gamecock fans are just riding high right now.
You
closed out the season beating Tennessee and Clemson back-to-back. We'll get to that game in just a little bit here.
As well you should be.
But I feel like that's going to be a fun one. That's going to be a hard-nosed game back and forth between the two. And would you be shocked to see Notre Dame just smoke them?
Yes.
You will be.
Yes. With what they're going to put on the field, I will be shocked if they smoke them. I also won't be shocked if 80% of the crowd is South Carolina fans. This is a high water mark for them. This is a huge step down from what Notre Dame, where they wanted to be.
All right, we'll get into the New Year's Six Bowls and the college football playoff bowls in just a little bit. Let's get through the rest of the schedule here for the quote-unquote lesser bowls. Because on December the 31st, on New Year's Eve, that Saturday, noon o'clock, you're going to have the Iowa Hawkeyes and Kentucky.
This is a real fun analysis, and it's only one sentence. If I wanted to watch a bunch of guys spend 3 hours not scoring, I'd take my friends to a bar. I am Seacrest out. Iowa's starters can't score, and Will Levis will not play in this game. If my blood relative families were coaching this game, I would fake my own death to get away from it. That is the worst bowl matchup I've ever seen in my life, and it's not really all that close.
Right. So you're not going near this at all on betus.com.
If you told me I had to wager this game and sit through all 3 hours of it, or let you hit me in the face with a 7-iron, I'd think about it really hard.
Nice.
Was that vivid enough for you?
That's absolutely. I love how you paint the picture for us.
I circled that game, and I wrote no analysis beside it. It just says jokes. End of message. Repeat the line.
And then Monday, January the 2nd, you got 2 games involving SEC teams. Noon, the ReliaQuest Bowl between number 22 Mississippi State and Illinois.
This is like the perfect storm. Kooky Madookie Mike Leach playing in a stadium with a gigantic pirate ship. Bulldogs by 1,000.
And then you got LSU kicking off against Purdue at 1 o'clock.
I would lean LSU. I don't quite know what the team's going to look like. The biggest dumbfounding thing I've seen yet, Kayshon Boutte's coming back to LSU. If I'd had to pick one player that I guarantee you is declaring in this draft, it probably would have been him.
Really?
Yes. Stock's down, and I don't care. This has not been a fun year for him. And I'm not sure next year's going to be all that much better.
Yeah.
But he's coming back.
Well, take your chances. Take your chances with what you can put on the field next year. Purdue will have lost their coach by this point.
Most likely.
Jeff Brom is going to be the new head coach at Louisville.
I'll be shocked if he's not.
I mean, it's the thing that makes the most sense.
Well, he and his brother, who is the offensive coordinator at Purdue, by the way, both started at Louisville.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you completely ignored them once.
Yes.
I don't think you're going to do that again.
No, you won't. LSU Purdue in the Citrus Bowl.
The Cheez-It Citrus Bowl.
That's right.
Man, Cheez-It's out here.
Too.
Cheez-It's out here throwing all kinds of cheesy cracker doubloons around.
Right.
Let me check on Cheez-It.
You are in the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville. Coming up after the break, we'll get into the big ones, the ones that actually mean something. You got the New Year's 6 bowls plus the college football playoff.
The Sportsocracy.
That is some good, clean family fun there, ain't God?
ESPN Asheville College Bowl Spectacular here on ESPN Asheville and in the Ingalls studio.
Hey, now we're to the bowl games that might actually be fun to watch.
Absolutely. And I know the college football playoff is what we're, what hardcore fans are really looking forward to, but the New Year's 6 bowls did give us quite some juicy matchups.
Yeah, the problem is that I feel like this not being a 12-team playoff really makes these much less palatable.
I would agree. But it all starts New Year's 6 bowls on December the 30th. 8 o'clock that night, you're going to have the Capital One Orange Bowl with,
And I'll be daggum if they didn't really make this as orange as humanly possible.
Those teams that call Beamer daddy. It's Tennessee against Clemson. SEC versus ACC matchup. And who's going to play?
I'm going to say virtually nobody. I mean, between these two schools, they have 9 guys in the first 3 rounds of my mock draft.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. So the receivers for Tennessee, why am I going to play with Joe Milton? Yeah, I'm good. I think I put enough tape up. Cedric Tillman's a 2nd-round pick. Jalen Hyatt's 1st-round pick. I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Clemson, they love to hang their hat on, we never have opt-outs. All right, I'll play your stupid little game. You have 2 guys that are going to go in the top 10. They benefit 0 from playing in this game. You have another that's going to go in the top 25. First 2 were Miles Murphy, Brian Brise. The 3rd one's Trenton Simpson. There's virtually no shot they play in this game.
Mm-hmm.
None. You're going to have Cade Klubnik. That's at least a reason to watch it. Even with the 2 backup quarterbacks, per se, I think you'll have enough talent on this field that this will be a fun game to watch. It's just not going to be as good as it would have been if this was a first round of a playoff game.
Absolutely.
That's what I'm looking forward to when this playoff changes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's going to change anything about who wins these things. I mean, Georgia has to win an extra game. Woo. They will.
Right.
At least in this year's scenario.
Right.
But it would make this game much more palatable. You'd have many more players playing in it that are going to play at the next level, which is what I miss about bowl games. I hate the opt-out thing. But you get to a certain point where it just doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't make sense for the players. I get that you –
I projected over 100 opt-outs. Over 100 guys, and I'm talking draft opt-outs, not I'm in the transfer portal.
Right.
Why would I be number 101? So that I can get hurt while everybody else is training and getting themselves right for the combine? No, that doesn't make any sense.
Right. Tennessee versus Clemson looks good on paper.
It's going to look
And I feel
terrible
like
on your
it's
television screen, though. You're going to think you hit the saturation button.
And I feel like this is a letdown game for both of these teams. And that's a problem for me.
I will be interested to see Klubnik with a month to prepare with the first team. DJ's in the portal. That's what I'm taking. And it's small things like that I think you have to find in these bowl games to find them, to find a reason to watch them.
New Year's Eve, Alabama, Kansas State.
The All-State Sugar Bowl.
12 o'clock kickoff for that one.
How many times have we said exactly what I'm getting ready to say? One of these teams is super stoked they're here. The other one may be missing half of the players that were on the roster.
Right. Kansas State, after the Big 12 championship, they're riding high right now and want to prove something. Want to prove that they belong on the stage with a team like Alabama. The problem is, I could fully see this being one of those games of, Alabama slips up and loses, and then you got all the excuses of, well, we really didn't care. We didn't really care about this game.
And that's exactly how this is going to go. Because their 22-man roster, you know that next-gen thing they do on Amazon where they put everybody's name below them so you know who they are? Mm-hmm. We should really do that here. Alabama has more players in the portal than any team in college football. And you're going to lose at least half a dozen players that opt out.
Yep.
Might be more than that. I've got as many as 13 that would make sense.
Do you see Bryce Young?
Oh, good Lord, no.
Playing in this game?
No. Nor Will Anderson, nor Jordan Battle, nor Brian Branch, or Malachi Moore, or Jahmyr Gibbs. I can keep going if you want me to.
Yeah, it's going to be quite unfortunate.
Meanwhile, you've got Kansas State who's trying to figure out if their best player will be healthy enough to play in this game. That tells you everything you need to know.
Right.
Look, Alabama's the better of the two teams. Chris Kleiman is really good in bowl games, A. Mm-hmm. B, they want to win this desperately. C, Alabama's pretty let down that they weren't in the playoff, which they shouldn't have been.
Yeah, they shouldn't have been. They felt like they should have had a case, and they made their case, and they lost. It's kind of how that works. And then there's the college football playoff. You got one team.
Oh, you don't want to
left.
talk about
It's
the Cotton Bowl?
The Cotton Bowl.
I'll be honest with you. The intrigue in that to me is A, does Caleb Williams play? B, do I care?
Well, I was going to say
because he has to come back.
Okay.
And that's another one where I think I have to wash my hair.
Right.
No Jordan Addison. No, none of my toys to play with. I'll be back.
It's gross. USC Tulane. I could not care less.
I just really wanted a reason to say the Cotton Bowl.
I think it's a joke that Tulane's in it in the first place.
Well, but you, Mr. Participation Trophy, are one of the reasons that we're here.
Don't come at me with that.
Everybody deserves a shot.
Don't even put that on me.
Cincinnati should be in the playoff.
Bull hockey. That is not me.
Oh, last year I specifically remember you going, well, they're going to get boat race, but they earned their way in. Stop.
You must have been doing the show with a different person, because I have never been on that bandwagon. I have always been the Boise States, the Cincinnatis, the Tulanes, the Northern Illinoises. Y'all can just go down a road somewhere. Yeah. No,
where does the apostrophe go there?
I was never happier to see the outcome of a bowl game than I was the Sugar Bowl between Georgia and Hawaii. I thought that was the most laughable thing on the planet, and then the game turned out exactly how I thought it was going to be. I don't understand this. Like, I can understand if it's like an undefeated team.
That's what it was last year.
Yeah, like if you have an undefeated group of five team,
I don't
put
care
them in
about,
a New Year's Six bowls. Let's see.
I don't care about that.
I know you don't.
I don't want any of them in. And when we go to the playoff, I don't want to see this group of 5 team either.
Oh, they're gonna.
I'm well aware of that.
They're gonna.
And I will continue to do that same thing that I have done with all of these games, including that Hawaii game that you were just talking about, and including that Cincinnati game that I was just talking about, and won't watch it because I don't care at all.
Right. I am very interested in the Rose Bowl since we're still on the New Year's Six bowls here. Penn State and Utah, I think, has all the makings of a great one. Last year's Rose Bowl, Ohio State and Utah, was phenomenal. What was that, like 63-62? It was a heck of a game.
Yeah, this one's not going to be.
This
like
one
that.
won't be that close. I mean, as far as that much scoring, but it could still be fun.
Oh, I think it'll be fun.
Because you got the only team from the Pac-12 that actually plays defense, and you got Penn State who hangs their hat on that.
Yes. This will look drastically different than last year's Rose Bowl.
Mm-hmm. I think it's got all the makings for one of the best bowl games of the entire slate. I've seen these rankings of bowl games and all these different outlets of what are the best ones, what are the worst ones. This one's barely in the top 10 of some of the rankings, and I can't figure out why.
I can't either.
I think it's going to be a premier matchup because you have 2 teams that actually care, unlike in Alabama.
And you have a lot of guys coming back for both of these schools.
100%.
I mean, Utah loses a lot off the top side, but none of them are really they're draft eligible, but they're not prospects. So this could look like a legitimate, honest-to-God matchup between these 2 teams.
All right, there you go. There's your New Year's Six bowls minus the college football playoff. When we come back from the break, we'll talk about it. Who's going to take home the national title this year?
The Sportsocracy.
The ceiling is the roof. Let's make it happen. Let's keep moving forward.
The college football playoff. The Peach Bowl and the Fiesta Bowl. You got, obviously, just one ACC/SEC team in this. It's the Georgia Bulldogs is the number 1 team in the country. They will be in the primetime matchup in the Peach Bowl in Atlanta against Ohio State. First up, Michigan TCU, 4 o'clock start on New Year's Eve in the Fiesta Bowl. I mean, this is Michigan, right? This is Michigan just asserting their will on TCU.
The playoff committee missed an opportunity here. Because if you had Michigan play Ohio State, I think Jackson Smith and Jigba plays. Because if you really want somebody to typhoon your stock, play your rival in the playoff and then say you're not going to play.
Right.
I straight up would tell you, I'd take you off my board.
Mm-hmm.
If that's how little you care about these guys and everything else, I'm Seacrest out.
Right.
I'll let you be somebody else's problem.
Right.
So I do think the committee got this wrong. Now, the 4 teams, that was right.
Mm-hmm.
But it should have been TCU, Georgia. Because let's be honest, you, the Georgia fan, would straight up tell me, I'd rather play TCU.
100%.
Well, that tells me everything I need to know.
100%.
The Georgia fan is saying that I believe Ohio State's a better team.
Mm-hmm.
That's Exhibit A. Exhibit B is how much more palatable would that second matchup have been if it was Michigan-Ohio State instead of Michigan-TCU?
It'd be a lot. And I think it's funny, one of the first things that got mentioned to me was like, oh, look, they want Michigan-Ohio State in the championship. Aha, aha, aha. Not a chance.
Look, I thought that game would be much closer with Jackson Smith and Jigba.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at this now as both of these may be terrible. They're both on New Year's Eve. The NCAA can't get out of its own way, and it's comically stupid to me.
Having these games on New Year's Eve.
That's so stupid.
You're against it.
It's so stupid.
I disagree, but I'm also not a go out on New Year's Eve guy. I'm a stay at home and watch football and hang out till the ball drops and go to bed guy.
And that's my point, is why would you cut anybody out?
Mm-hmm.
Why not have this at a time that doesn't cut anybody out, no matter what you are?
Right.
It makes no sense to me. Michigan is going to boat race TCU.
That's how I feel this is going to go down as well. Michigan, I
thought Michigan and Georgia were on a collision course to meet each other for the national title anyway.
Yes. It has only proven that Michigan is just as strong without Blake Corum.
Well, they have a ton of running backs.
Mm-hmm. And
so
I feel like
it's less than ideal that you don't. It's less than ideal that he's not going to be playing.
Will you be shocked if they don't flex on TCU? The TCU is able to keep this game close, and it's really competitive down to the end.
I'll say it's 45 to 21 Michigan.
So boat raced. Okay, good. Got you. And then the nightcapper in the Peach Bowl, 8 o'clock, Georgia, Ohio State. Yes, this is the most terrifying matchup you could have expected. However, no Jackson Smith and Jigba makes me feel a little bit better about this game.
Well, it should.
You still have threats from Ohio State to worry about.
Marvin Harrison Jr., C.J. Stroud, absolutely.
Right, but I feel like Georgia their defense is just so dominant that, yes, you can get behind them and, yes, you can make big plays, but is Ohio State going to be able to stop Georgia? Are they going to keep Brock Bowers from doing whatever it is Brock Bowers does?
They have the talent to do that.
You think so?
I don't think they have the coaching to do it.
Okay.
I've said I don't believe in Ryan Day at all.
Yeah.
But there is something about this that's bothering me.
Mm-hmm.
Set these two lines.
Set the two lines?
Mm-hmm. Without looking.
Michigan, I would put it at 9.5.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, I don't think I could go full over 10 for a college football playoff game. And Georgia, Ohio State, I would have that. I mean, if it were a regular season matchup, it would be 14.5, but probably for the playoff, it's 8.
6.5. You're not even catching a full touchdown.
I'll take it.
And I feel like that is Vegas. I feel like it's Vegas just baiting people in.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why. I don't see it. But that line makes me super nervous.
Right.
But that being said, I will say Georgia wins this convincingly.
Yep.
And we have Georgia and Michigan in the national title game.
National title game on January the 11th. It's Georgia's to win, right?
I don't agree with you.
Really?
No.
You think Michigan can pull the upset?
I do. Look, this cowboy hat Bennett thing is cute, and I'm not telling you he's not a good player. The fact he's at the Heisman Trophy ceremony is the most comically stupid thing I think I've ever seen in my life.
He's a winner.
Over Hendon Hooker and Blake Corum. Stop talking.
He's a healthy winner.
Okay. Maybe I'll give you that. Maybe I'll give you that. We don't want to have somebody have to use crutches to walk across the stage.
Right.
All right. Maybe. I don't think that's the layup that a lot of SEC fans want to think it is.
No, it's not a layup by any stretch. Don't get me wrong.
There are Georgia fans that think they will beat Michigan by 40, and that is comical to me.
Right. Well, it's the way they imposed their will last year in the semifinal that they think is just going to happen again. We'll just lather up and rinse and repeat. You got to remember, this is a different team from last year. You lost a lot. Yeah.
And they have a completely different quarterback now.
Mm-hmm.
That changes the way this offense runs.
He's
to
scary.
me, I won't be happy with anything else. I don't want to see an upset. I don't want to see spunky little TCU play for a national title.
No.
Squish them both like bugs.
Yep.
Let's get to what we want.
That's right. And, of course, we'll have all of your coverage in the run-up to it. Jeremy will have all the bangers each and every day that we're on during the bowl season. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. We got UNC Asheville basketball coming your way next right here on ESPN Asheville 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400.